these sessions this week are completely dropping through inspiration. I'm only going to be on here for about 30 minutes, but I really recommend, if you felt called to this or you've seen me like just very briefly post this today, that you actually make it a priority to watch these all. I'm going to be breaking down, hello, the science of quantum leaping. Quantum leaping is something that's gained a bit of like a name in the Instagram world, but people really don't know what it means, and they actually don't understand that there is a logical formula behind it. And my intention over these 4 days that I'm just going to hop on these lives and just speak to you about it is to really ground what a quantum leap is and how it's accessible to you as well. Some of you guys know that I was coached by Hina Khan for a while and Bob Proctor. And what I love about the way that they approach personal development is they always talk about study and implementation. Study and implementation, right? We have a tendency in the modern world to just be like, I want to know this piece of information, that piece of information, I'm going to go after that shiny object syndrome. And sometimes we struggle to integrate and actually learn and live something. So I really hope that as I do these lives with you this week, you can actually make the decision with yourself to listen to them various times and actually start implementing them in your life. Because why not have a breakthrough here on Instagram together? Hi everyone! I'd love to know, where are you all listening from in the world? My favorite thing about the online world is that we can all connect, even if we're like in different places all over the planet. And who's ready to hear about quantum leaps? Hina, I just talked about you. Hi Hina, I was like, this is inspired by Hina Khan. I literally just said that and then you appeared like 3 seconds later. I think you felt me. I think you felt me talking about you, and I was actually just sharing about how I was impacted by your principle of study and everything that was channeled through Bob Proctor as well. Hi Faye, hi Brooke, hi Natalie, Vale, Kate. Not everyone's name's clear from their Instagram handle, so I'm going to try my best. Daniela. So, Hina, this is very inspired by you. I just saw that Hina liked this because I'm actually going to do a little study session with people today here on Instagram. And so, out of interest, guys, before I begin and dive into this very exciting topic, because I'm really excited about this, when I say quantum leap, what do you think? Can we finish that sentence? Quantum leaps are... Hi, Steph. I know Steph's watching this. She's told me with a little cup of tea. When I say quantum leap, what do you hear? I'm not seeing comments, and I'm wondering if this is people are commenting or not. When I say quantum leap, what do you guys hear? What is a quantum leap to you? What is a quantum leap to you? And let's start from that place. And then I'm going to dive into, you guys know that I love a description to start. Oh yeah, they are coming through. Okay, we've got huge jumps towards your dreams. I mean, we can quantum leap probably in all different directions, but let's hope the quantum leaps towards our dreams. Leaping into a reality when you're getting whatever you want, that might be a quantum leap for you. Quantum leaps are external catching up with the inner work. Oh my God, I love these definitions. Okay, are the culmination of small steps that become one large step. Yes, and yes to all of these things. And also, I mean, we can define it in any way, but when I talk about quantum leap today, I'm talking about using the energetic forces to create results that don't make sense. So most people go towards their business, right? Or go towards their wealth journey, or go towards their dream life journey, or go towards whatever you want to create, whatever your desire is that you want to manifest. And they're like, okay, if I do all of these steps and I work really hard and I push a lot, and then if it doesn't work, then I'm going to work harder and I'm going to go at it more, right? That's how most people going towards their dreams and goals, which very often leads to burnout, right? And actually not these huge non-logical jumps in reality. A quantum leap is when we start to lean back And we don't just create from the physical. We don't just create from hard work. It doesn't mean that we don't work, we do work. But we lean back and we work with the energies of the universe to create that shift in reality that does not make sense. Okay, the second that we start talking about quantum leaps, we're starting to talk about like non-logical. We're starting to talk about non-logical shifts in reality, guys. This is not a gentle, this is like a bam, it's here. And I loved who said it can be the culmination of small steps, because very often it is the culmination of lots of little inner shifts, or one big inner shift, and then it shows up in our external reality. And I'm actually going to start by reading you a story. Yes, Awaken with Kate says, I love that definition and potential. And please feel free to like drop in questions as we go, because I always feel when they're questions, I can really like tailor this to you, and it's going to take me different places with this work that maybe I wouldn't have gone alone. Brooke, hi darling, it's so wonderful to have you here. She says collapsing time through embodying a future version. That is one way to do it. But yes, it's all about collapsing time. It's all about collapsing time, and there actually is a science to it. And what we're going to study and look at, what we're going to read together as such, I'm not just going to read you a book, okay, I'm going to give you quality stuff, is something that I was recommended by a mentor last year, and it's called U Squared. Does it go the wrong way for you guys on the screen? It says U Squared, and this is a book by Price Pritchett. And he does a lot on quantum leaps. Have you guys ever heard of Price Pritchett, and have you ever heard of U Squared? Because that is what we're going to be talking about today. And there are lots of places that, because of ignorance or not being educated or not having this awareness, that we can get stuck in the quantum leap, and we actually don't get to go the whole way and actually experience the beautiful benefits. Nova is saying, I was in PPP this week and I love your energy and your teaching. Happy to be here. Oh, I'm so happy for you to be here too. I know lots of you have come through Grace one way or another over here, and I'm just thrilled to have you here. Nova says you're enjoyable to learn from. Well, that makes my heart sing. I'm very happy to hear that, okay? Let's read the initial story. Okay, let's read the story. I'm going to read you a story. I've literally come on Instagram to read you a story. Think about that what you like, but it's an important story. Okay. And this is the understanding of the quantum leap. Hi Benny, Respira Universe. Okay. This is a true story. And I made a reel on this using a parrot, guys. So if you recognize the story and the premise of this, it's my parrot reel. I came from Kelsey, listening from Ohio. Hi, darling. I know you had a call with Tamsin. It's lovely to have you here as well. Okay, true story. I'm gonna read it. Gonna read you guys a story. I'm sitting in a quiet room in the Millcroft Inn, a peaceful little place hidden back among the pine trees about an hour from Toronto. It's past noon, late July, and I'm listening to the desperate sounds of a life or death struggle going on a few feet away. If you're someone that's really visual, I invite you to close your eyes and actually witness this on the screen of your mind. It's going to be very potent. There's a small fly burning out, the last of its short life energies, in a futile attempt to fly through the glass of the window pane. The whining wings tell the poignant story of the fly's strategy. Try harder. But it's not working. The frenzied efforts offer no hope for survival. Ironically, the struggle is part of the trap. It is impossible for the fly to try hard enough to succeed at breaking through the glass. Nevertheless, this little insect has stalked its life on reaching its goal through raw effort and determination. The fly is doomed. It will die there on the windowsill. Across the room, 10 steps away, the door is wide open. 10 seconds of flying time and this small creature could reach the outside world it seeks. With only a fraction of the effort now being wasted, it could be free of this self-imposed trap. The breakthrough possibility is there. It would be so easy. Why doesn't the fly try another approach, something dramatically different? How did it get so locked in on the idea of this particular route and determined effort offer the most promise for success? What logic is there in continuing until death to seek a breakthrough with more of the same? No doubt this approach makes sense to the fly. Regrettably, it's an idea that will kill. Trying harder isn't necessarily the solution to achieving more. It might not offer any real promise for getting what you want out of life. Sometimes it's in fact a big part of the problem. If you stake your hopes for a breakthrough on trying harder than ever, you may just kill your chances for success. I want you to reflect for a second. And I wish I could see your hands, and I'm going to raise my hand. Put an emoji in the chat if that you've ever gone towards a goal like that fly. That you have stubbornly thought, the only reason and the only way to get to this goal is if I do these things, and then you obsessively do them and you try harder and harder and harder and harder and harder and harder and harder, and it doesn't work. How many of you guys have experienced that? Awakened Cake is saying, these are perfectly timed sessions with you today, PPP in here. Yeah, baby. This was completely just like divine inspiration. I was like, I woke up this morning, I was like, I'm going to read U Squared to the peoples on Instagram. And then you guys showed up, which is brilliant. So we're co-creating this. Who has been the fly, guys? I have been the fly so many times. And then when it hasn't worked, I've gone back into this place of just frustration. And I'm like, okay, I just need to push more. I need to try harder. I didn't do good enough. And then I get lost in these loops of I did something wrong. What if there was an easier way? What if there was another way to get everything that you desired that didn't involve burning you out? That didn't involve a logical 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, step by step. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Quantum Leap. And the way that it gets to get easier is if we stop trying to do it all alone. We live in a universe that is manifest and unmanifest. So many people are trying to create what they desire just from what is physically available, what is already manifest. They're trying to force matter, literally like that fly is trying to force its way through a window pane, when there's a much easier way. But it involves different things. Energetic mastery is one of them. Working with the unseen is another thing. I have never gone towards anything, I've never attained anything ever since I've started with the energetics and manifestation work by myself. I'm always working in harmony with the universe. That's why I bang on about these teachings again and again. Now, a quantum leap does not mean that we are passive. Because some people hear the teachings of energetics, and if this has ever been you, I'd love an emoji in the chat too. Some people hear about the teachings of energetics and they're like, oh, I'm gonna do nothing. I'm just gonna lie down and I'm just gonna wait for it all to happen. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that we turn into complete and utter passivity and that we don't contribute anything and we don't work with the universe. I'm just saying that we don't need to do it all alone. Right? And so many people swing between these extremes, and I see people I'm going to work with energetics and I'm going to have a quantum leap, and they go all in to the energetics, and then they're just in this state of waiting. Remember, your inner world attracts your outer world. If you're waiting internally, all you can do is attract more waiting externally. It's a state of not having. If you're in a state of not having, you're only a match to more not having. So that is one extreme of the pendulum. The other extreme is the super, super hard push, 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 push. They are both sides of the same coin. Same coin. So we want to be in this center place. We're coming to the quantum leap. We're grounded. We are connected to the energies, right? We're working with frequency. We're working with thoughts. We're working with energetic mastery. Like, we're bringing all of those things on board, but we're actually doing the things too, right? So if you're watching this, like, just have a little commitment with self. Like, can you commit to holding the frequency, to working on a quantum leap on an internal plane, as well as doing the things? That's the vibe. And I love it because Alpha Femme talks about this. If you guys know Alpha Femme, she's a huge business coach in the coaching world. And she used a term that I just adore. And she talks about, like, harmonizing with the universe. This is the quantum leap. We're harmonizing with the universe. We are moving and we trust that we are supported. We move and trust that we are supported, okay? Are you guys with me till here? Are you with me till here? Drop an emoji and then we'll deepen, okay? And we're just gonna go straight. There's one that I want to tell you. There's one that I want to go straight into. I'm gonna see what we go. Yeah. That actually wasn't what I was gonna go on to. Yeah, we've got an emoji. Are you guys with me? So I opened the page and it literally took me to, the title says, Rely on Unseen Forces. So if we're working on a quantum leap, we're relying on unseen forces. And they say, improving your performance by order of magnitude, U squared, can sound unrealistic if you think of it as something that you have to do all by yourself. But you don't. Forget the idea that you should be able to see tangibly in full view all of the resources necessary to leverage your performance dramatically. These are the resources you can access that cannot be seen. They are far greater and more powerful than the resources you may already readily observe. Absence, okay, who needs to hear this, guys? Absence of evidence is not evidence of their absence. I'm going to repeat this again. Absence of evidence is not evidence of their absence. Think of an iceberg, where you can only see the tip of what's there. Just as real, though out of sight, are invisible resources ready to make a profound difference in what you can achieve. All you have to do is open up and let them in. So we are coming to the study of the quantum leap from the understanding that you don't have to do it alone, that there are unseen resources. What does the book mean by this? It means money, it means time, it means creative solution, it means ideas. Every time things start spinning in me for a quantum leap, what I start to experience is this flurry of ideas that weren't there before, right? You start to acclimatize to a new level, and the ways come through as divine inspiration. But you have to act upon them, okay? We're just wetting our palate today. I'm going to share one more thing, and then we're going to continue with this topic tomorrow. We're just opening into the concept of the quantum leap, and we're just grounding in that it's us doing the things plus energetic mastery, plus unseen resources. So what most people do, not most people, what some people, I always get a bit dramatic. What most people do? No, what some people do that might be you, so check in with you, is that people start coming to the Quantum Leap work and they start to organize it. They're like, okay, so I'm going to Quantum Leap and I'm going to do everything absolutely perfect. And this is really, if you were on the live I was on Gracie's today, this is such a perfect extension of that. So people come to the Quantum Leap work, they're like, okay, I'm trusting on unknown resources, I'm going for that higher level, I'm going to really shift things in my life. And they do nothing. This is the piece that I was talking to you about, waiting. They're like, I'm not ready for the Quantum Leap because I don't know all of the things. I'm tying it together now. I can't go for the Quantum Leap because I haven't figured out my exact purpose in life. I can't go for the Quantum Leap because I haven't figured the exact way that I'm going to pay for this thing. I can't figure out the Quantum Leap because I haven't figured out the exact way that I'm going to manage my time and... Right? And it's yes! Okay, this is yes, me, haha, the spiritual perfectionist, and it does me no good. Yes, this is who I'm speaking to, the spiritual perfectionist. Now I'm bringing it together, guys. So here's the thing for going towards the Quantum Leap. The Quantum Leap is going to require something of you. And it's going to require for you to move and take action without fully knowing or understanding the process prior. In other words, it's moving towards the thing before you are ready. It's moving towards the thing and doing the things and allowing yourself to gather data, right? Because life is data, that's all it is. Gather data as you go. So we're gathering all of this data, we're moving before we're ready, because we know that we are supported. Let's bring it back to those unseen forces that are hanging out there and supporting us. But if you're busy, not taking action, retracted, retreated, not doing the things, how can life even show you that you're supported? How can life even give you those resources? So the big thing with the Quantum Leap is you don't need to prepare. We feel and we move and we trust the unlogical. I always say this. I base my decisions on feeling. Feeling. I swear to God, I base my decisions on feeling. I get an inner nudge and I move forward. Lucy, that is such a great question and I'm going to speak to that in a second. Okay? I want to share something from this. Oh, that's also a good one. I'm like, wow. I'm like, listen to the titles of this book. Seek Failure, Trust in the Power of Pursuit. Like, I'm so excited, get uncomfortable. I'm so excited to go into this deeper. Fall in love. Oh, this is going to be so good. This is going to be such a good. Ignore conventional approaches. Think beyond what common sense would allow. Suspend disbelief. Is this not the best? Focus on ends rather than means. Rely on unseen forces. Okay, this is the bit that I want to share on that. Choose a different set of risks. Going for a quantum leap feels chancy. The risks hit you as rather apparent. You may be quite threatened, but you must stack them up against the hidden risks you accept when you decide to live with the status quo. Ask yourself, this is such a good way to start. Ask yourself what you're risking if you don't go for your quantum leap. The risk is that you won't get what you really want out of life. I'm going to repeat that for those of you that need to hear this because I love you. Ask yourself what you're risking if you don't go for the quantum leap. The risk is that you won't get what you really want out of life. Like, people are scared to take the risk to do the thing, but like, imagine, and I always say this when I teach, because you guys know I got into this work because of my mum's illness and passing. I was like, we die. My mum got to the end of her life being like, oh my God, would not repeat. 0 out of 10 TripAdvisor. I know I shouldn't make a joke about death, but when you've been through death and you've been close around death, like, you know, things, I've had to do a lot of work around this process, and now I'm at a point where jokes come. So, you've got to understand, this is the point, guys. You've got to understand that you can never escape risk. It's not something that you can decide to live with or without. Something is always at stake. You can only decide which risks to take. Whether you choose to go for the quantum leap or to follow your usual routines, you are putting something on the line. So choose carefully and don't kid yourself with the idea that playing it safe by living with the status quo gives you the best odds. It may be the surest way of losing. Quantum leaps do mean that to some degree you must move beyond the zone of security and comfort. But you can make the jump to U squared is what he calls the quantum leap, without being reckless and or impulsive, okay? And I'm just gonna finish with this bit. Risk believing in yourself. Risk acting on the assumption that you can succeed in making a quantum leap. Otherwise, the risk is that you will settle for only a fraction of what life has to give with you. That's how we're starting. The quantum leap isn't a fucking risk. It's a greater risk to live a life not filled with what you actually want. To live a life that's normal and safe. I'm going to answer a couple of questions. We've only got 3 minutes left. I've just thrown in an array of points, an array of things for you guys to like wet your palates and stimulate yourselves with. That sounds very strange, but it's what I said, and this is a live stream, so I can't change it. Brilliant. And tomorrow we're going to start speaking to the practicalities and ways that we can do this. Awakened with Kate, this book is called U Squared. It's like U with a little 2 up, and it's by Price Pritchett, okay? So, how do you know when to take action and when to sit back in non-attachment? Why can't you do both? Yeah? Why can't you do both? What we want to be working towards is taking action in an energy of non-attachment. If we're taking action and we're gripping, like imagine this, I always think that we have like a channel to the universe. I see it visually, it just helps me ground this concept. Right, we've got a channel to the universe. If you're gripping, you're super attached, you need it to be this. What you're doing is you're just like, things can't come through, you're not allowing. So what would it be like to be in full trust and surrender and allowing whilst taking action? Let's go back to this definition by Alpha Femme, Melanie and Sawyer. You're harmonizing with the universe. You're always moving and trusting. So there isn't a neediness there. It's like you move, you trust yourself, you feel the thing, you trust yourself, you get the idea, you move and you flow with it. Like that's what we want to be working with. You're just like this channel to divine ideas. You channel to what you want and you move it through your body, right? Let's also be clear, taking action sometimes might be rest. Rest is an action, right? For some people, their quantum leap might be resting more. You're still taking action, you're still crossing a terror barrier. Ask anyone that's been chronically switched on forever and that's built a business from hustle, when they go to relax and rest and slow down, they're going to be terrified, they're going to be anxious. That's old self to new self, that's a quantum leap in itself. Can I allow myself to have all that which I desire without the struggle that I've attached my worth to? That's an action. I don't know if I'm being clear, but I hope so. Oh, my partner says, joined, hey Ferret. Hey Davey. You know how people have pet names, right? My partner's pet name to me is Ferret. So Let's process that for a second. Okay. We have a couple of questions. Does avoiding something in one area prevent a quantum leap in another? Yes and no. We're getting really specific now. Let's say that you have a belief that you are unlovable, and if people knew the real you, they would not like you. Well, that's a belief that's going to sabotage you in business, in romantic relationships, in friendships, right? So if we're shifting energetics in that area, then that's going to unblock loads of areas of your life or block areas of your life. But if you have a belief and it's purely around money, and we're just working towards a quantum leap in money, then your money, you can have someone that has thriving relationships romantically and doesn't have a thriving bank account. So it doesn't have to, and yet it can. And usually everything in life is so interconnected. But my recommendation is, when we are working on a quantum leap, to focus on one area of your life. If not, it's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be too much. When I've got a goal, it's like one or two at a time. So hopefully that answers your question. This has been my life. I'm in a transition from security to freedom. Do I stay secure and play small, or do I risk it all and go big and see what happens? Currently sitting in delusional risk, lol. But I'm also like, wow, I'm really doing this. Yeah. I started my journey in risk, and I think there's a knowing of your system. There's a nervous system piece here. Like, how much can you hold? How much, when I started doing this work, and I've talked about this with you guys before, I made huge investments that didn't make sense from the place that I was. I've made investments without knowing how I was going to pay for them. But I knew how to hold myself in that, right? And that made... So it was still safe in the uncomfortableness. We don't want to be doing this to a point that we destroy all sense of safety. so we can't do any of the things. So there's a line between both, right? We're looking for a stretch that creates discomfort, but not a stress. So to the point that you're going to become immobilized. And I've done a post on this as well, right? How do we release the fear? I feel that I'm in a chokehold and my fear, and it keeps me at a standstill. Everyone, regardless if you're going towards a quantum leap, you need to have practices in your life that help you clear emotions. I have loads. I shake, I do breath work. I've got an emotional clearing technique, which is called the Emotion Code. We train people in the School of IH on this. In the School of IH, if you want to know how to release fear, join the School of IH. Because we teach so many processes on all levels to help you work through fear. Whether it's the level of belief, whether it's the level of emotion, whether it's the level of what's happening in my energy body. And also what we want to be doing is and this is a Bob Proctor piece, right? When we're in fear, what's going to help us do the moves and do the things anyway is if we can tap into faith through understanding. Faith is kind of the opposite to fear. Faith through understanding. So when we're in those moments of fear, can we understand and study the laws of the universe? Can we be in a container? This is why I always go on and on about the School of Integrative Healing. Obviously it's my business, but I've seen how profound it is to be in a container with all of these humans that are quantum leaping, right? That are doing the crazy things, and you're actually supported. I teach 4 times a week there. You're supported, right? For when you are scared, you are supported by the community because they're feeling the same. So we can create support systems in our life to hold us through this, like communities, like coaching containers. I have mentorship just for this. I've had mentors straight for 4 years. And it's changed the game for me. I probably am braver and more courageous. I know I am because of that, right? And that's available to you, but maybe that's your stretch, your quantum leap, your non-logical move. Do I have any more questions? Yes, that makes sense. Monita, thank you. Oh, hello. What do we owe this pleasure? Oh, I've just realised I've joined late. Hi, Emma, darling. I feel like you're just popping up everywhere. And then I'm not even sure if you're staying, but lovely to see you too. Okay, thank you. Okay, from Neva. So this is just a sprinkling. This is just a beginning, guys. We know what the quantum leap is. We know that the quantum leap requires on trusting in the unseen, and just because we don't see it does not mean it's not there. We know that it requires us to move before we're ready. We know that it's a bigger risk, right, to stay the same, even if it feels safer, right, than to go for the thing, because we can always learn from failure. We can always learn from the information that we gather when we move. I love you all. I know you've got nothing practical to apply today, and usually I do teach practical things, but I will bring that in throughout the week, okay? Well, actually, I do think you could apply these things. That's yours to kind of chew over. It's been an absolute delight, and we'll see each other tomorrow.